In a world of riot and ruin, dear, you're my shelter in the glow. With your Pip-Boy on your wrist.
Welcome back to the Dusty Signal, my little devils. It means the world to old Dusty that you keep finding this signal and tuning in. Now, pull up close tonight and pour yourself something warm. That just seems to fit today's tape. Our boy Nate has had a few companions on this journey so far. Godsworth, bless his mechanical heart. Preston and his Minutemen, briefly. Nick, the friend with endless patience. And of course, Dogmeat, who just might be the most loyal dog to ever roam this here wasteland. But tonight, Nate picks up a new partner. One who doesn't shy away from the hard questions. One who makes him laugh until something hurts. And one who, and I want you to hear this clearly, can shoot a shot that will leave our boy Nate wondering if he could have done it. Sugar. That's no easy task. But sometimes we think we know something about someone, about what they can and can't do. And what we'd thought we knowed just wasn't right. And before we knowed it, they'd turned out to be much more than we'd thunk. Tape 21 is now rolling.
Log 021, November 13th, 2287. It's day 23 since I was thawed out, I think. They all run together a bit. We are camped out at Grey Garden for the night. It's a farm run entirely by robots. I'll explain that in a minute. I'm recording this about 30 feet from where Piper Wright is sleeping on my sleeping bag. I snuck away after she fell asleep to find somewhere quiet to record this. So, here I am, pacing behind the barn, trying to remain focused. I'm a highly decorated special operator who has run covert missions on 3 continents, and I'm hiding behind a robot garden to talk to a Pip-Boy because I'm afraid she would laugh at me if she heard me doing this. I've had more dignified moments. I'll run the day from the top. I slept well, got 4 solid hours without any dreams I can remember. Used 2 purified waters and a small bar of soap I found to clean up before heading out. Basic maintenance. Even out here, basic maintenance matters. My body isn't used to the conditions of a post-apocalyptic world. I need to keep myself clean to avoid illness. I also need answers about the glowing sea. I needed to keep moving toward getting my power armor repaired. I needed to check in on the network. And I needed to see Piper. I didn't put that third one on the list until I was already walking toward public occurrences, though. But it was there, in the back of my mind. I just couldn't walk past her place on my way out of Diamond City and not stop. She wanted to come with me. I started to protest and she cut me off. Said she wanted the story. My story. I told her I'd think about it. She grinned and started putting a bag together. I didn't stop her. She's traveling with me now. Apparently, I thought about it very quickly. 2 people are better than 1. Nobody knows more about the Institute than she does. It made tactical sense. That's what I'm telling myself anyway. Tactical reasons. Besides, I really wasn't sure what the next step was. I had a lot of loose threads to pick up. Preston's settlement ghoul problem, the missing girl, the Brotherhood, Deegan and the Cabot House, the rescue beacon at Cambridge Station, the water treatment plant. Maybe none of these got me closer to my son, but doing something is better than doing nothing. So, I chose the water treatment plant. It was on the route back to Forward Base Alpha where my power armor is waiting for repair. That's my ticket to the glowing sea. Everything else is noise until that armor is operational, and a working water treatment plant means survival. It made the most tactical sense. We stopped at Oberlin Station on the way, just to check in. The 2 settlers there are doing well. Really well. We had lunch with them. Simple meal, clean air, 2 people trying to hold something together. It was a good stop. Piper liked that I'd been helping people out in the wasteland, trying to make a difference. She said that's rare. I've heard that before, and it always makes me sad. How can people look around at this post-apocalypse and not want to make things better? Moved out around 1500, but not before Piper had a blunder of a moment when she tried to interview one of the settlers there about the dangers of the Institute. She asked him if he was afraid of the Institute replacing people with synths. He just stared at her, then said, "I am now." She blushed, got flustered, and awkwardly said, "Thank you," while backing away. I had to turn away or I was going to break another rib laughing. I gave her endless shit about it for the next hour as we walked to the water treatment plant. She finally hit her limit, and not so gently let me know to drop it. I did. We crossed the dam on the way to the plant, and ran into a man having what I can only describe as a difficult afternoon. Apparently, he'd eaten some potted meat, said it was probably bad. He strongly suggested we move on quickly and give him some privacy. The wasteland has produced deathclaws and behemoths and synths and suicide supermutants, and this guy was going to be taken down by a can of potted meat and the shits. I genuinely don't know whether to find that tragic or hilarious. Both. Honestly, both. As we approached the water treatment plant from the high ground, we kept to the tree line. I used this scope of my sniper rifle. I'm calling her Betty. I could clearly see super mutants moving about the exterior. They're nice enough to stand tall when shot at, so Betty and I went to work. It was just getting dark, and some fog was coming in, so I felt comfortable firing 2 shots before moving positions. When you're shooting tangos from range, you don't fire multiple rounds from the same position, unless you want to get dead. But the conditions allowed for 2. Usually, you would fire and move. So if they saw a muzzle flash to track, you're already somewhere else by the time they get there. The fog rolling in helped cover our movement, but it also made finding targets a little harder. I'd given Piper my pipe rifle before we left Diamond City. I had her use the scope to help with target acquisition, but asked her not to fire unless absolutely necessary. She fired. Once. We had moved closer because of the fog. I was locked in on a brood of a super mutant with a missile launcher and had just fired my second shot into his right arm, making him drop the weapon, when I caught movement to my right. Piper had sat up in a kneeling position and had her rifle pointing over my back. She fired 1 shot. Just 1. Holy shit. The resulting explosion was massive. The flash lit up the area like a sun dropped in, and the shockwave rolled me onto my back and threw her into a tree. I was up and at her side, ready with a stim pack. She was okay, just shaken up. She had shot a mini nuke that a super mutant had in their hand. He was one of those suicide mutants that I saw the other day, and he was dangerously close when she noticed and made the shot. Honestly, that was a great shot. To hit an object in someone's hand while they're running and swinging that object around, then to do it in one smooth motion from a prone position to a kneel? I'll just say this. I'm not sure I could have made that shot. She saved our lives. I hugged her, said thank you, and we moved out. There was no need to hide anymore. I switched to my 10mm, and she kept the pipe rifle, and we moved in. We cleared the remaining tangos from the exterior of the plant. The one mutant that had a missile launcher was the last to die. Luckily, he wasn't dumb enough to use it in close quarters. We left it outside, too bulky to carry efficiently. I'll grab it on the way out, just in case the Brotherhood boys want to make trouble. Landing their vertibird for them seems like a reasonable response. The interior was a different situation entirely. It was completely flooded. In order to get the facility up and operational again, we needed to manually turn on the 4 pump stations. That would drain the water and disturb whatever is living in it. In this case, mirelurks. I switched to the combat shotgun. I also tried to explain breaching protocols to Piper before we went in. She stared at me like I was explaining heart surgery. Ultimately, I told her to stay behind me and just went in. To her credit, when things got ugly, she was right there. And she can shoot. That mini nuke was not a one-off lucky shot. This girl can shoot. That made this little adventure that much easier. We worked the switches one by one. Drain the water, clear what comes out, move to the next one. Methodical. I used my last couple mines as perimeter protection when I had to get into the danger zone. 15 shotgun shells. Every one of them had to count. And they did. Last section required swimming through the muck to reach the final switches. I won't describe what that was like. I'll just say it was exactly as you may think swimming through brown, slimy, mirelurk-infested water would be. Very unpleasant. Once all the switches were thrown, the pumping station came back online. We took the elevator back to the surface. Storm hit on the way to Grey Garden. The sky turned green, and the lightning was wrong. The kind that makes the hair on your arms stand up for reasons that have nothing to do with electricity. Piper said it was a rad storm. Said we needed shelter immediately. There was a busted-up bus along the road. We got inside and waited it out. She wanted to do the interview. I told her I wasn't ready, so we just talked. About the plant, about tactics, about the Commonwealth. I get nervous sometimes when conversations don't have a clear objective. I never get nervous in the field. Give me a room full of hostiles and I know exactly what to do. Give me 40 minutes in a broken bus with someone, well, with her, and I fumble my words. I told her she reminded me of Nora. It just came out. No preamble, no context. Just, you remind me of her. She looked at me. I looked at her. Thankfully, the storm passed. We started moving again. Neither of us said anything about it, and that was fine. That was probably the right call. We made it back to Grey Garden late. That didn't matter to the workers, though. They're all robots. It's a farm run entirely by Codsworth-style robots, Mr. Handy units. Supervisor Wright is a Mr. Gutsy unit that runs the whole operation. They produce crops, make trades, and maintain the whole property. I'd passed through here before. Good addition to the network. Wright was grateful for the water treatment plant being operational again. He gives us a trade discount now. Clean exchange. We asked to stay the night. Wright said yes, but there were no beds. I laid out my sleeping bag for Piper. She was asleep in about 4 minutes flat. She sleeps like someone who's made peace with the fact that the world is dangerous and decided to rest anyway. She calls me Blue because of the vault suit. I kind of like it. She keeps asking for the interview. She thinks my story could help people in Diamond City cope with loss. Maybe she's right. I'm just not ready yet. Not yet. It's strange. I've been talking into this thing for 23 days now, recording everything. The vault, Nora, Ramirez, the dreams, all of it. Just talking. And somewhere in the middle of all that talking, I started to wonder, will anyone ever hear these recordings? I'm talking to a machine, preserving a record for who? Nobody really, just hoping someone finds them and listens. When I'm gone, someone will find this Pip-Boy next to whatever's left of me, and maybe listen to a few entries out of morbid curiosity. And that's probably gonna be it. Is anyone ever going to know Nora's story? My story? I don't know why that hit me tonight. Probably just exhausted, or maybe, deep down, I already know the answer. Piper's interview. That's the only way I can ever truly know that Nora's story will be told, will be remembered. Piper calls me Blue. Tomorrow, Blue will brighten her day. She can ask me her questions. This is Staff Sergeant Nathaniel Campbell. Out.
Tomorrow, she can ask me her questions. That's what Nate said. I've been sitting with that line since I first heard it. 21 tapes, 23 days, a vault and a wife and a son and a best friend's bones in a tunnel and a dying man's gun and 5 versions of Sean laughing in a circle. And one woman sleeping on a sleeping bag 4 minutes after her head hit it. And he decided Nora's story will be told. We'll come back to that. First, the potted meat. No, I've seen a lot of things in this wasteland. I've been in situations that would make most people's hair turn white on a spot. I've crossed paths with creatures and people and combinations of the two that defy reasonable explanation. And I genuinely cannot tell you whether the potted meat man is the bravest or the most foolish soul Nate has encountered since he thawed out. This was a man, not a boy. You know what that means, don't you, honey? It means this guy survived many years in the wasteland, probably had to fight many a fight to survive up to this point. Hiding, fighting, sleeping, and eating. Just not always wisely, apparently. Sugar, the wasteland has enough ways to kill you without your lunch joining the fight. But here's something your old gal Dusty was a-thinkin' that you may not have thunk yet. What if you was just saying all that to get Nate and Piper to move on? What if that was his way of surviving? I doubt it, but it's kind of fun to think about the shits being his main defense strategy. Betty. That's what he named his sniper rifle. Betty. I'm going to be honest with you here. I've never heard of someone naming their weapons. It kind of creeps me out a bit. I mean, it makes the weapon seem more than just a weapon, I suppose. It's just plain weird to me. But you do you, Nate. You do you. Now, Piper Wright. I want to talk about something that I don't think Nate fully realized he was doing when he first agreed to let her come along. He was protecting her. Not consciously, not with any kind of deliberate decision, just instinctively. The way people who are very good at keeping themselves alive tend to assume that others need their help doing the same. He handed her a pipe rifle, told her to use the scope for target acquisition, but not to fire unless absolutely necessary. She fired. Once. A suicide super mutant running at them, mini nuke in hand, swinging it around, closing fast. She went from a prone position, that's laying on your stomach for those of you that don't know, to a kneeling position in one motion, and put a round through that mini nuke before it reached them, before it killed them. And Nate Campbell, who has run covert operations on 3 continents, said he wasn't sure he could have made that shot. I want you to sit with that for a second, Sugar. Because here's what I know about people who spend their lives being capable, being strong, being the one who always handles things. Sometimes, they forget that other people are capable as well. Not in the same ways as they are, not with the same training or the same experience, but capable nonetheless. Sometimes the world has been so determined to prove to you that you're on your own, that nobody's coming, that you'd better handle it yourself or it won't get handled, that you stop leaving room for anyone else to show up. I know something about that. I've spent most of my life being the person who handles things, who doesn't ask for help, because asking for help means admitting you need it. And admitting you need it, well, that means showing something to someone that can be used against you. The wasteland teaches you that early, and it teaches it hard. Piper Wright shot a mini-nuke out of a running super mutant's hand, and Nate hugged her. Just hugged her. Said thank you. And they moved out. That's a man learning, in real time, that he doesn't have to handle everything alone. That somebody showing up doesn't make him weaker. It just means he's not alone anymore. I've been doing that for a very long time. Running alone, handling things, making sure nobody could use my needs against me. And it keeps me safe. It also keeps me separate from everything, from everyone. The wasteland calls it survival, and it is. But that's a version of surviving that looks an awful lot like disappearing. Maybe that's why I put down the gun and picked up the microphone. Maybe I was tired of being alone, but not ready to be around people. Here, I get to share stories and try to help people without having to be with people. I prefer it that way. You see, people can be the worst sometimes. They fixed the water treatment plant, got it running again. Not because it helped him find Sean. Not because it was the next logical thing to get him to the glowing sea. Not so he would gather supplies for his power armor repairs. Because clean water means survival, and survival means people, and people means something worth fighting for. He keeps doing that, finding the thing that needs doing and doing it on his way to the thing he actually came to do. A lot of people would walk past the water treatment plant. A lot of people would file it under someone else's problem. A lot of people have done that. Nate Campbell stopped, and him and Piper fixed it. That's not a soldier following orders. That's a person choosing what kind of world they want to walk through. And then he snuck away from the woman sleeping on his sleeping bag and hid behind a barn to talk to a Pip-Boy, because he was afraid she'd laugh at him. Sugar, I find that incredibly endearing. This man has faced things that would break most people in half, and he's worried about being laughed at for keeping a journal by a reporter. But here's what I want you to hear underneath that moment. He said, "Is anyone ever going to hear these recordings? Is anyone ever going to know Nora's story? My story?" And we are answering that right now. Yes. I found a busted old Pip-Boy in the wasteland, and I've been broadcasting his story to anyone who could find the signal for 21 weeks now. Nora's story is in the air. It's been in the air. Every single word he's spoken into that recorder has been heard. He just doesn't know it. And then, and this is the part that got me, he said, "Piper calls me Blue. Tomorrow she can ask me her questions." 23 days of recording into a machine he thought nobody would ever find. And he decided, quietly, in the dark, behind a barn, on a farm run by robots, to let his story be told. Not because someone made him, not because the mission requires it, because Nora's story deserves to be remembered. And he's finally ready to make sure it is. The Courier Network is open, my little devils, if you also have a story to share. Last week, the good old Outlook Express stopped by and dropped off a couple letters from you, my dear listeners. One was from Chance, from the great Midwest Commonwealth, and he wrote in to say, "Dear Dusty, I don't like your show. It's stupid, and so are you. Much love, Chance." Well, Chance, thank you for that thoughtful and detailed letter expressing your very real and descriptive thoughts about my little show. Such a manuscript was tough for me to find the time and energy to get through, but somehow, your old gal Dusty did it. Now, I had another letter from Sarah. She lives with her brother in the Southwest Commonwealth. She said, "Dear Dusty, my brother and I work together. On our way to and from work, we listen to your show. We haven't missed an episode. We love Fallout and have really enjoyed Nate's story so far. We look forward to every new tape. Keep up the great work. Sarah and Mike." Sarah and Mike, thank you so much for taking the time to write to me. Honestly, it means the world to me to know you're out here listening. Keep the letters coming in, my little devils. Every one of them matters more than you know. Until next time, sugar, keep your rifle clean and your belly full. Stay close to the signal. Stay alive. Stay strange. Dusty, out.
Stay close, my vault dweller. Don't roam too far from me. With you I build our paradise beneath the desert sea. Oh my Calvin, you make my heart far away.
This is Garrett Klein, the one-man creative force behind the Dusty Signal podcast and the solo creator for Classic Me Studio. The Dusty Signal is a fan fiction audio drama that's set in the Fallout 4 universe. Fallout and all related properties are owned by Bethesda Game Studios and no copyright infringement is intended. This is and always will be a free, non-commercial production. Created, written, and produced by Garrett Klein for Classic Me Studio. Voices were created using 11 Labs AI voice technology. Original song, Vaulted Heart, was created using 11 Labs music generation software. Sound design from Audio Hero, 11 Labs, and My Imagination. Genuinely thank you for listening, and I hope you're enjoying it.